I'm here with biology professor Timothy Brophy, also a pastor as well of Lynchburg. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, thanks.
What was your reaction to that video when first watching it?
I can't say that I was shocked by it, because I had heard things like that before. I hadn't heard those particular things, but I would say that maybe it made me a bit sad. But it had kind of confirmed some things that I had thought were going on anyway.
So, do you personally believe that there is a war on God in America, of taking God out of America?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah, I think that was pretty clear from the video, that there is a movement to try to remove God from, especially things having to do with our government. So things in the national capital and also with schools, to remove him from those government places.
Why do you think they're taking God out of America?
It's hard to say. I think that maybe the bottom line is that people don't want to be responsible to God. I think that the scriptures tell us that the hearts of men are desperately wicked. We seek our own way. We don't want to be responsible really to anyone else, let alone a God who has certain expectations for us to live certain ways. So I think ultimately it's because of us, us wanting to deny that God exists so that we're not responsible to him. I think really that's the bottom line. And I think partly that comes out of pride, that we feel like we can make our own way, that we can do things the way that we want to do them. So I think pride is at the bottom of it as well.
Just us taking accountability for our actions.
Us not wanting to be accountable to God, thinking that we're just a law unto ourselves and not really accountable to anyone else except ourselves.
Did you actually know that God was being taken out of America?
Well, I knew that in lots of ways that was happening. I didn't know that was happening at the monuments in Washington, D.C. in the way that they had said it. I'd actually visited the World War II monument recently, and I didn't really put that together, that they had kind of left out some of those phrases.
It's kind of like skips your mind.
Yeah. I didn't know that. So that was sort of enlightening in some ways.
After watching that video, you have kids, like six kids to be exact. Knowing knowing what you just watched, would you want to take your kids to something like that, the visitor center, knowing that they left out an important part of history like that?
I think I would still take my kids there, but I think I would probably fill in those blanks for them, because it's too important of a place for them not to go. But you bring up the matter of history, and that really bothered me too. It really bothers me that our country wants to remove God from society. That bothers me the most. But it also really bothered me that they were changing history. That it's one thing to want to get rid of God, but to deny that he was ever worshipped in our country, that's a huge problem. So just even from a historical standpoint, those monuments are bothersome to me, especially the one where they had the picture of, in the House of Representatives above the seat of the Speaker, which clearly says, "In God we trust," and then just to erase that,
right.
that was pretty shocking. That was pretty shocking.
As a pastor, would you want to notify your congregation of what's actually going on in the state that they live in, America? Because I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of people that don't know about this.
Yeah, no, I think that it will be the kind of thing that I'd like to let people know. Yeah, because I think it's something that if we as a people speak up about that, there's fewer and fewer people in our country who would actually care about something like that. And so I think those of us who do should let it be known that we don't want our government to change our own history. It's too important for them to do, for them to do that.
Like as a pastor, like, do you actually like believe in conspiracy?
Do I believe in conspiracy? I wouldn't say that I'm not a conspiracy theorist myself, so I don't get all up in arms that way about it. Like, I'm not going to go tell everyone I know and get people all whipped up and riled up about it. But I do want people to know the truth of that. But I wouldn't say that I'm a conspiracy theorist. I don't kind of go overboard that way.
So you wouldn't say that what they're doing by like taking God out of America, like that has nothing to do with conspiracy in any way, shape, or form?
No, I think that our government is a reflection of a lot of people in the country. Right. The people, our elected officials, they come from our society, they're products of our culture. So for me, it's not necessarily a conspiracy, but it is it gives us an indication of what's going on in our nation as a whole. So I think that's the sadder part, is that it's probably more widespread than just our government.
Right. Because I was paying attention to the video, and one thing that I noticed when they were talking about the coins and like how they took the "In God We Trust" off the face, like, have you actually noticed that? Have you actually seen that personally? I
hadn't noticed that. I didn't know that. Maybe I haven't seen new enough coins to notice that.
Yeah. But some of the things I was just like, okay, like, is this actually like true? Like, is everything that they're saying, like, is it believable?
Oh, the video itself? Right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have any firsthand knowledge of any of those things. So other than the video, I don't know if those things are true. Right. I would have to research that myself. And so probably before I would kind of go and tell people, because I do care about the truth. Right. I would probably investigate those things a little bit more, more than just a YouTube video. But even if I kind of had, definitive proof that those things were true, I don't think it's a conspiracy. But yeah, those are probably the kind of things that I would want to check out more thoroughly before I would even mention it to my congregation.
And like, as a Christian and a pastor, like, what advice would you give to others about letting other people know about what they should do to like alert people and have them aware that what's going on in America? Like, what would you do, or what would you say?
Well, things like this, if they prove to be true, I think the video itself gave a good advice that we should work through our elected officials and the system that's in place to try to get those things changed. If it's something that's an important enough issue to people, then I think there are lots of ways of getting the word out nowadays. Social media and things like that really empower us to reach a wide audience. So if there's something that's important enough, I think we can use all of those modern tools to get the word out.
Last question, like, as a pastor, if it was up to you and you were like elected to go speak to the Washington officials of like why they should keep God in America, what would you tell them?
Well, I could speak to them historically, just in terms of the founding of our country. Our country was founded on biblical principles, and so I think we need to at least honor that. We shouldn't deny history. We should at least honor that as part of our history. But then as a pastor, I would want to convince them of the truth of those things, that not only is it our history, but it's also the truth, and that it's important for our country today and for the prosperity of our country, for the health of our country, and for the future of our country. I think it's important that we honor God as we have since our founding.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.